This is a response to the haircut, a North Korea apologetics video made by these two punchable faces. This video is a sick joke. So, some news organizations reported that North Koreans are forced to have the same hairstyle as Kim Jong-un. These gleeful hipsters decided to travel to North Korea to refute this single, insignificant piece of information. They then go on to act as if North Korea is just a normal place with normal prisons, even though they don't prove any of this. First, let me give a tip. If you want to be taken seriously, don't wear your political ideology. I shouldn't be able to tell what your views are by looking at you. This obnoxious hipster look just makes it obvious that you're a mindless drone. When I see someone who looks like this, I assume that they don't do any research, and their political views are just part of an effort to be trendy. Well, in this case, that's exactly right. So this video starts with a tired and idiotic argument that you shouldn't believe any of the scary stuff about North Korea, because some of the mainstream media stories about it are questionable or have been proven wrong. They don't address the evidence of North Korea's human rights violations, and as with other tankies, they don't respond to any of the experts on North Korea. They just present us with 6 mainstream media reports they take issue with. It should go without saying that you're going to have to do more than that if you expect us to doubt all the bad stuff about North Korea. Another problem with this vast media conspiracy argument is that the idea that practically all of Western media and academia is hell-bent on defending U.S. foreign policy is just patently not true. We know that if there was actually a case for the apologetic view of North Korea, that people like Glenn Greenwald and Noam Chomsky would be all over it. It wouldn't be left up to annoying kids or this fat abomination. This is a problem that a lot of conspiracy theories share. They're always exposed by low-rent morons.
What about the prison camps? I mean, it is pretty disgusting when someone does that to their own people. But at the same time, it's a little bit confusing. I mean, what is a prison camp? Like, we have prisons, sure, but the bad guys always seem to have prison camps. It's as if our prisons are just great places. You serious, Alex? It's as if our prisons are just great places to be. Our prisoners are known to burst into song and dance because, well, the amenities are so great and they get to go home when it gets dark. But the prison camps, oh boy, the prisoners are stuck there, they've got walls and guards, and the prisoners get physically and sexually abused. No. Prison camp is a useless word, it means nothing.
So in order to refute this ridiculous false equivalence between North Korea's prison camps and regular prisons, I'm just going to list some of the glaring differences. North Korea doesn't even admit that their political prisons exist. People are regularly sent there without due process for ridiculous fake crimes like wrong knowledge and wrong association. You're totally free to make up false accusations against Western governments, but North Koreans can't even raise legitimate complaints about their government. Prisoners often die due to appalling conditions in these camps, which include intentional starvation, torture, grueling labor, and public executions. North Korea has even been known to imprison up to 3 generations of the supposed criminal's family. You can find the testimonies of numerous former prisoners in the sources below. You will find that they're not remotely similar to anything you'd hear about a regular prison. Also, good luck finding a credible source that denies the prison camps exist or claims they're just ordinary prisons.
And before you say, no, Alexa, the North Koreans, they put their people in prison for no reason and we don't do that in a democracy.
So he's going to give a really stupid response to the claim that North Korea imprisons people for terrible reasons, but notice that he's just ignoring the claims about the conditions in North Korea's prisons.
Well, if that's the case, you might need to have a conversation with the Australian Indigenous community or refugees in detention.
Okay, so he's got every Western prison to choose from, and he picks one Australian facility and doesn't provide us with any information about it. He doesn't even try to argue that the conditions here are as bad as those in North Korean prisons. Anyway, this isn't the same thing. This is a detention center for refugees. Of course North Korea doesn't have refugee detention centers. They don't receive refugees, they create them. Also, it's worth mentioning that this particular detention center only has 10 people.
Or the Black Lives Matter movement in the States. I mean, these are just examples of people. They could tell you quite a bit about large groups being imprisoned for no reason.
Yeah, there are fewer racist attacks on black people in North Korea, but that probably has something to do with the fact that there are no black people in North Korea. That doesn't mean North Koreans aren't racist. When a black Cuban ambassador showed up in North Korea, they surrounded his car like a pack of zombies and started beating on it while shouting racial slurs at him. And a core part of North Korean ideology is that North Koreans are the most pure-blooded and virtuous. Also, you don't get to just assert the Black Lives Matter narrative as fact. Many of the police shootings of black people occur in debatable circumstances, but even if we pretend these are all clear-cut murders by police officers, they would still pale in comparison to North Korea's atrocities against its own people.